Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Elevating as a Leader, Making a Triumphant Transition at Your Law Firm, Scott Mason talks about the different skills to keep in mind when taking a step as a leader within an organization. If you want to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, please be sure to subscribe to our channel.
So let's get into the heart of this presentation by starting the discussion on what are the core executive skills possessed by that lady on the left versus the sole contributor skills that are hopefully possessed by that poor man drowning in paper to the right. How exactly did he move from where he is, or how can he move from where he is into where she is? Well, let's begin by understanding exactly what the key legal individual contributor skills are rooted in and how those differentiate from the one most important executive leadership skill that there is. And then we'll begin to figure out how to bridge the gap between the two. In order to be a successful sole practicing and sole contributing lawyer, you have to be able to exercise an aggregation of knowledge. The exercise of knowledge is the key skill that an individual contributing attorney brings into the room. It's very specific knowledge. It's relating to the subject matter area of the law that you're practicing, relating to the state of the law that you're practicing and perhaps future trends, relating to things like court rules, parameters of the client's legal or ethical needs, as well as a whole host of other things, the regulatory landscape that you're operating in. All these sorts of things are very specific areas of knowledge that you have to really understand and be able to apply into various situations, but they are nonetheless all rooted in knowledge. And I mentioned earlier the aggregation of knowledge. That's because law is one of the few areas where experience actually can benefit you. It's not like, oh, you know too much about law, we don't want to hire you. Oh, you've been around too long and you've seen too much and you've been doing too much in your life, we don't want to hire you. That's not usually what happens with lawyers. As we build knowledge and build experience applying it, we are able to command more money, respect, prestige, and able to move up the ladder. So experience matters for sole contributing lawyers, but principally vis-a-vis the application of law in novel situation. In other words, it's an escalation of the knowledge that we have that justifies us being able to have the social prestige that we do, the professional prestige, as well as the money that the best of us can command. On the other hand, successful executive leadership isn't always about knowledge at all. I had successful executive leadership roles, sometimes over massive groups of people and of related to issues of extreme consequence with no subject matter expertise at all. The core skill that I brought into the room and that a successful executive or entrepreneurial leader brings into the room is rooted in wisdom. What is the difference between the two in the context that we're discussing today? Now, there are online a zillion different places that you can go to find out what the core executive leadership skills are. And again, anytime I'm referring to executive leadership skills here in this presentation, I also am referring to entrepreneurial skills, or at least insofar as that entrepreneurial skill involves the desire of the entrepreneur to build an organization. So if I forget one, it's simply there. I'm using them a little bit synonymously here. And the key executive leadership skills that I found that are most comprehensive and that help people the most have been summarized in an article that I quote at the bottom of this slide and that you'll get as part of your supplementary materials, which are critical thinking, innovation, adaptability, negotiation, motivation, team building, decision-making, and of course, integrity. Now, that's the most comprehensive list that I could find without being overly comprehensive, but I'd like to add on, just in my own experience and from working with clients in this area, a couple of other key skills: strategic thinking, visioning, in other words, the ability to imagine what something might be or what your team or organization might be 5, 10, 15, even 30 years down the road is Both of these are key skills, as well as the ability to achieve measurable results. If you're not able to achieve results, usually financial, but there may be other metrics as well, you're not going to be a leader for very long. I think all of us intuitively know that. So, how does the application of knowledge versus executive leadership wisdom differentiate? How does one differentiate from the other? Well, first of all, the legal knowledge sphere within which attorneys operate is swimming in waters that by and large are shaped by the adversarial system. That's the first thing we learn in law school, or one of the very first things, that our legal system is based on the idea that by presenting opposing point of views, the truth comes out and the optimal outcome occurs. That is great for the practice of law, and mastering and understanding the role of the adversarial system in our practice is, of course, going to make us successful. But in an executive leadership role, building is what it's all about. And adversarialism can be viewed very, very negatively. As a matter of fact, people will not collaborate with you if they view you as adversarial. They won't want to give you their money, because most people will not spend money on individuals that they view in one way or another as hostile to them. And people won't work for you very long if they're skilled, because they don't like being treated in an adversarial manner either. And so the adversarial backdrop versus the building backdrop, or the mindsets that executive leaders operate in versus sole contributor lawyers, really can play out in ways that are dramatic. The big picture focus on the larger organization or the team needs, as well as that vision in the future, is utterly and completely core to executive leadership success, whereas sole contributing lawyer success usually hinges on a focus on detail. And that detail might be, okay, how can this law be interpreted in a way that benefits my client? Or how can it be interpreted to help find my client to be not guilty of whatever it is that they are being accused of in this litigation, or a whole host of other related things. So in contracts or leases or documents like that, attention to detail is huge. As we all know, a comma can make a difference between winning a case and losing a case in a contract dispute. And so really, executive leader isn't going to care about the placement of that comma. They're going to care about how that contract plays into the larger strategic goals of the organization. Two completely different ways of looking at the same types of documents and the same milieu within which they're all operating, which is that organization itself. And so that goes as to wisdom as a broader matter, and the application of specific legal knowledge. Wisdom in leadership has been best defined, at least to my ears, as the combined use of awareness, experience, and insight to set direction, empower people, ensure well-being, and guide activity to achieve lasting results. And you'll see the source of that quote again in the slide and the supplemental materials. But note, there are some words in here that are really not applicable to those that are swimming in sole contributorship waters. Empowering people, that might not be your first priority when you're reading a lease, sitting in your office at 3 a.m., or ensuring well-being, particularly of the staff or of the larger world that you're operating in. That's not always a lawyer's top priority if they are working on a specific legal project. And achieving lasting results. Rarely is a legal work about achieving a lasting result. It may be if it's impact litigation, or if it's the sort of litigation that somehow or leads to a major regulatory change or some transformational outcome for business or the culture as a whole. But again, thinking about things like reviewing laws, rules, and regulations, or thinking about compliance, those are really helping the business make it through whatever specific challenge that they're facing, or an individual making it through the challenge that they're facing, and not necessarily a lasting result that one can bank their legacy on, in the same way that an executive leader may be thinking about what they're looking to do. So, the key to exercising leadership wisdom involves understanding the relationship of risk to the trajectory of the entity that they are in charge of leading, whether it's a practice group or a legal department or an entire company. And that a lawyer leader is ultimately responsible for overseeing. So key elements of our training as lawyers and our job functions as lawyers, particularly during those years when we're right out of law school and we're learning the tools of the trade, we're learning how to be lawyers, and then we're learning how to be good lawyers and not just lawyers, make this particular facet of leadership wisdom particularly complicated.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on law practice and legal marketing. See you in our next clip.